Here we have it. The two Vises are finally done. I am very glad to say that I think they turned out really nice. There's a couple of flaws here and there that, could be fixed with enough time and enough desire to make it perfect, but I think they are very, very nice the way they are. And this guy, I hope, gets put to use. This guy, I think you can use and put on your welding table to hold small work pieces or something like that, or on the corner of your desk. It's a very nice little display item, I think, in its current condition. So anyway, they are all finished up, and I think they look pretty great. Let me take you in to see them a little closer. So here's our little baby. I ended up using some chrome paint. So it comes in a little jar. I got it at the hardware store, I think from Duplicolor. I don't know if I love it or not, but I think it looks fine. Could be a little prettier, I'm sure. These guys cleaned up nicely with the polishing wheel, and the barrel here came out pretty nice. All the shiny bits ended up cleaning up pretty well. New hardware, of course. The jaws I just ground on my Burr King. Love to have a surface grinder to make them perfect, but they're just Vise jaws. It's not like that actually matters. It was just a cosmetic thing. So yeah, really nothing to complain about. This guy is in better shape than when it was new, I would imagine, because there were some little casting flaws and stuff that Wilton didn't mess with, and I chose to take on and try and make it a little bit more perfect. And I think it turned out pretty nicely. So let's get the big boy up here on our turntable. So here are the swivel locks I designed and made. I ended up having to change my design a little bit. If you remember from the previous video, these guys were 1-inch diameter all the way up, and then had some chamfers in there to help the handle seat. So I ended up making the handles out of 4140 and just turned down a little section on either end for these little 1/2-inch diameter bumpers to go on there, just to capture the handle in there. And what I discovered was that with this body, 1-inch, this guy couldn't clear the raised lettering on the sides of the Vise. So ended up putting these back in the lathe and turned them down to 3/4 of an inch, and then just put a little shoulder on there and then chamfered the top again. And I think they turned out pretty well. The response on Instagram and Facebook machinist group has been pretty positive, so that was good. I'm not in love with the way the anvil section turned off. Let me see if I can get you a better shot. Turned out. So maybe kind of hard to see that there's a lot of pores in the casting. And this guy here is from an uncareful user. I don't know if that was with a grinder or a chisel or what happened, but anyway, a chunk came out of there and I brazed it up, but the braze had a little bit of porosity in it, so it kind of chunked out when I milled the back. So that's probably my least favorite part of the Vise. As you can see, the back of it is in pretty darn good shape. Had the screw all apart and cleaned everything 100%. The other thing I wasn't planning on doing, but decided I just couldn't leave it the way it was on the jaws. So these jaws are aluminum soft jaws, and I really don't use or like having hard jaws on Vises. They tend to cause more problems than they help with, especially in a machine shop where you've got a milling machine. You can make new jaws, kind of whenever. So I made these out of 6061 aluminum. And as you can see, I took some time to polish them. Totally unnecessary, of course, but sitting on the shelf, waiting to be won by somebody, I thought, hey, what the heck, let's go over the top here and make these just really shiny and pretty. So as you can see, they look great, in my opinion, and they are extremely parallel to one another, so you should not have any trouble holding on to items in these jaws. So let me wind it back closed and you can see how close they fit. So you can see there's a tiny bit of a gap I don't even know if I could get a 1.5 thou feeler gauge in there. It is really, really tiny. So they sit against each other very flat and make for a very smooth operating vise. And then polished up the handle here. There were a few dings on the end, so I ground on that a little bit with the Burr King and then polished it. All new hardware, of course, all new screws and everything. And the other thing that I guess is probably the biggest problem for me is just that this base doesn't quite fit this vise perfectly. As you can see, it's overhanging in some places and leaving a little bit of a lip in other places. You know, you can shimmy that around, but it doesn't fit perfectly. And honestly, I'm not surprised. That's pretty common with these vises. They generally don't have a matched finish in most cases. So what are you gonna do, right? It's not the end of the world, and it'll end up being a beautifully usable vise for whoever wins it. So let's talk about that. There we have it, a couple of beautiful vises that are leaving this garage very soon. The Baby Bullet is going to be at the Barzy Industrial Summer Bash 2019. That is 2 weeks from Saturday, or 2 weeks from yesterday, June 22nd at Stan Zinkowski's place. For details, Shaden HKW is his YouTube user. I'll put a link down in the description. Unfortunately, if you haven't already signed up, you are out of luck. The bash is completely sold out. So for those that are coming, bring some extra money to buy some raffle tickets so you can possibly win this little vise and win lots of other really, really good prizes. There's lots of tools there that are going to be given away. I came home with a boatload of tools last year. The reason for those, or the proceeds of those raffle tickets, go to pay for the bash. So the tents, the air conditioners, the porta potties, the ice truck, all that stuff is expensive. Like, you wouldn't believe expensive. So please bring some money and buy some raffle tickets to help Stan pay for the bash. This guy here is, of course, for the channel. So once we reach 1,000 subscribers, this will be selected at random for those who sign up to win. And my hope is that come the bash on June 22nd, we'll have 1,000 subscribers by then. Right now we're at about 905, and so I'm hopeful that in the next couple of weeks we'll get another 95 subscribers and we can do the draw at the bash. And if the stars align, then somebody at the bash will get to take it home if they're the lucky winner. Otherwise, I am committed to shipping to winners that are in the lower 48 US states. In extreme cases, if you live out at the very end of the last road in Montana or something where freight is just exorbitant, I'm going to ask you to pitch in. But I am operating in good faith and want you to be happy with winning something. I don't want this to be any kind of a burden for anyone. However, for those overseas and in Hawaii and Alaska, I'm going to ask that you pay freight and any customs that may be involved. I'm not opposed to sending it overseas, but it is a big, heavy item that's going to take a crate to be shipped in, and it may end up costing hundreds of dollars US to get it to you in, you know, Germany or Australia or whatever. So I'm not, I'm already out a lot of lost revenue on this. This is kind of an expensive prize to be giving away, but I'm happy to do it. I just can't also front, you know, a couple $100 to ship it overseas. So yeah, that's basically where we're at. The way to sign up is the Google form down in the description. I need a few pieces of information there from you, including your username, a way to contact you, and importantly, public subscriptions list on your YouTube channel. So if you have private subscriptions, I can't give the Vise to you because I don't know if you're a subscriber of my channel. And that's the whole point, is to do something that's fun, but also to drive subscriptions to my channel. So if you're just some random person coming by and clicked on the form and you just want to win something, that's understandable, but I'm not gonna give you the Vise if you're not a subscriber. So yeah, that's that. I look forward to reaching that 1,000 subscriber milestone and taking this with me to California. This little guy is going to California tomorrow in a package so that Stan can have it there and maybe show it off on one of his final videos before the bash starts. So anyway, thanks for checking the channel out, And I'm glad to be done with this project, and I'm glad that they turned out so nice. See you guys soon.